Shortly tuko na Jacob Aliet kama kawaida, who is an author, Unplugged, and then pia tuko na Magnus, who is a men coach, is a masculinity coach, and anapigananga na raia wengine. Good to see you, gentlemen. Good evening to you. Jacob, how are you?
Very well, Gerald. Good to see you. And it's good to be back to the show. Tumekuwa consistent of late, so I think I'm happy with the work that we're doing.
Thank you. All right, Magnus.
Super. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Glad to be back to this show. And like Aliet said, it's good that we are keeping it consistent. And there's a lot of interest. In fact, today, a number of people have asked me to send them the link. So we are now picking up pace, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you guys also for, it takes commitment. The show cannot be consistent without you guys being committed to it. So we really appreciate that you've been committed to this conversation, and our fans as well, who have kept us company all through and ensure that they also, I hope everyone is also getting better. We need to get a day we get testimonies from men who have been listening to us. And, people who have benefited from these conversations and how we can, the conversations can be bigger and better. But looking back, last week you guys really did a very good job. I watched it. Holding forth. Is there anything you want to, from the week, anything interesting you've seen during the week? Either online, offline, on ground?
Well, there's a couple of things. Do you want to go first, Aliet? Okay. There's a couple of things. I think the first one was a sad one where we saw a single gentleman who committed suicide based on the pressures of life. I think that's a major one that a lot of men are going through, and things that we all know, especially when men go through such hardships. A lot of people were asking why he committed suicide. It is not the way to go. It is not the solution. I'll still say this: we can still work out our issues and our burdens together as men, and that's why we are men only, to be able to seek some of those problems that we have and produce. Give people a chance and a space to be able to listen to something that will be able to ease their pain and get them through that hard part. So that was a sad one for me this month. This week. An interesting one was Huda coming back to wanting to open a church. Tumesikia hizo mingi. I think we were told in the last days there'll be very many of those kind of people. And it's interesting because we were talking about war, post-war tendencies and salvation, and that pops up. I wish it had popped up the day of that Sunday, but it popped up at that moment. So that was a pretty interesting one. And I wrote a post and I told people to just be careful, especially men, that this is what we were talking about, and you'll see quite a bit of those things happening, especially with women who have hit the wall and they're trying to get back or redeem their image. So it's good for men to be careful, and it's good that we talk about these things so that usiseme haukuambiwa.
Jacob. That's actually interesting. That's an interesting one. Huda, I wanted to form a church. I don't know what's going on, man.
It is. I think the church gives people an easy entrance back into the sexual marketplace, and I think what we are saying is that it is okay, and what we normally say is that God may forgive you, but you are still at 3 or 4, because the things that you've done in terms of history, just the same way if you steal someone's items and they forgive you, it doesn't mean you're not a thief. It just means that they have forgiven you. You may actually change and stop your thieving ways, but that is going to be seen in the future. For me, one of also about that guy who committed suicide.
Adala.
Yeah, it was a sad thing. It happens to the best of men. The life can become so empty if you don't particularly live an examined life, because there are certain things that can be taken away from you, either by accident or even by human action. And if you've not worked on your identity as a man, you can find yourself actually contemplating deleting yourself. So it's very, very important. And more normally, the issues about identity, I think I had a show about identity at one point, normally around family and career. Many men normally define themselves either through one of those things, and sometimes you really have no control over them because your family, your wife can divorce you. Like that guy was, the wife had separated from him and went away with the kids, and then he was also demoted, or he felt that he was demoted. So such things can actually really wreck someone's life and identity. The highest point for me was there was a young guy called Elvis. Elvis W. He's a TikToker. He has more than 5.6 million followers. He did a very good review
yeah, I
of
saw the review
Unplugged,
on
and the sales have really, really gone up. So the unplugging is continuing, and I think it's very, very important for young men to unplug, because as women are being empowered, there is no program either in the society or in our institutions
To empowerment.
that is preparing young men to deal with empowered women, except what we are doing now. So if men will find themselves in a situation where they are average men but women are empowered, then if these men are not fortified and solidified, they'll be resorting to either using drugs, committing suicide, or just becoming hopeless. So I think the work we are doing is very, very important. And I hope at some point the government will also find a way of stepping in. I saw the Tanzania government was debating empowering the boy child in parliament. It is something that we need to do sooner rather than later. Otherwise, we may have it's a disaster, or just a bomb that is about to explode, because even the number of single mothers is also really, really increasing. And we are going to find a situation where we have boys who've been raised by women and they have no idea what it is to be a man. And yet their bodies are full of testosterone, hormones that are of aggression. If they don't know how to either channel that aggression or to control it, then you are going to have an imploding society. So I think what we are doing is very important, and we hope that there can be a way of having support or collaboration from other quarters in the society. I've seen also that the church is also, there are parts of the church that are realizing that the church teaching needs to be upgraded to modern times to reflect the challenges of the world, particularly as far as the men and the boy child is concerned. So I think that those are my highlights of the week.
Okay. Moses Gita, good evening to you, Moses. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you had a great week tuned in as always. Thank you so much, Moses. You've been a very consistent fan. Checking it out on YouTube, Joab Oboge, present teacher, seated at the lecture room number 3. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Patiko Modio Nyango, I've taken the front seat na nyinyi wangwana. Asante. Tawit Simon, interesting conversation. Thank you for giving us a platform to learn. Asante sana. Alex C. President, can we hear on how men should handle mental health issues in a manly manner? Okay, Martin Wango, good stuff. Asante sana. And I think I want to pick, just reflecting again on the gentleman who committed. So I mean, by all means, he was a man of fame. He has done so well for himself. He has scaled up his career. He has an image, like he's the kind of a man we say, he's a man. He is a man with a frame, by all standards. And I saw the conversation actually that was also going on online. They say, it's easy to tell someone like handle things like a man until they cannot do it. And I saw the suicide note, nobody to blame. I just want to go and rest. And this question is also raising a very critical question on what exactly every time you're told, you need to deal with things as a man. Are men sometimes allowed to be weak? Are men allowed to be out of frame sometimes? Magnus.
I'd say this probably with a very authoritative way and say men are not supposed to be weak or show weakness in public. Generally, just don't. It's not a good thing. People will take advantage of you. People will laugh at you, people will mock you. I think it'll only get worse if you show weakness. I've had women say, men should open up and be vulnerable. Fuck that shit, man. No man should do that. Do it in your bathroom. Do it with other men. Don't do it in front of women. Don't do it in public. It's not a good thing. It will never amount to anything much. In fact, it will only create more problems for you. I say that because I've seen, even the other guy, the other actor, prominent actor, rest in peace, who deleted himself. And he had come on, he'd also come on video, and he had actually shown a lot of weakness on that video. It's a sad video, but it's also, I don't believe that's a way that you want to be remembered. I don't believe that's something that you want to do as a man, to show your children or to the people who look up to you, you know. A lot of people look up to, even for people who might not even understand, a lot of men do look up to you, even younger men. And showing that weakness is not, it's even in the pride of lions, any male lion that shows weakness is deleted. And it's usually even deleted by the females, by the way, and other males and other younger males. So it is not something that you should do. I'm not saying that you should be hard as a rock all the time, but do not show your weakness in public. That is just my 2 cents.
Okay. Jacob.
Yeah, so I think you raise a very important point, and this is something I think we discussed with Silas. The men in uniform, the guys in the armed forces, they tend to have the weakest frames, contrary to popular opinion. Wow. These guys, of course, physically they are strong, they have guns, they go through the most difficult situations. But they're very blue-pilled in the sense, in the way they handle their relationships. A number of them believe in 180s. And I wish someone could do this research. I would estimate that every 1 week, either a policeman kills someone. Normally, most of the times, it's a fellow police officer or someone who is not in the police force because of love. They find their women cheating or so. They are always there. If you don't have it in a week, you will have it two incidents in 1 week. And this is something you can Google. So it happens a lot, particularly with the police force. But I think it's also linked oftentimes with their age, because most of these guys are young. 20s, latest maybe they're in their mid-30s. So a number of them are very idealistic in the way they think about women and about marriage and about relationships. So when they find another man sleeping with their wives or their wives cheating, it's very easy for them to kill themselves because they cannot reconcile reality with what they believe. And the people, I have a lot of friends in the armed forces. They bought the book and they've always told me that they'd like to invite me. I've even had cases where very senior people in the within the forces, they take photos with the book, but they're afraid they don't want to be seen. But this is a problem we have in the armed forces, particularly because these guys have deadly weapons. So they can act out their aggression in very deadly fashion and end up with fatalities. So it is one area of the society that we really need to unplug, because the world is moving so fast, but those guys, a number of them, they are caught unawares. They're caught unawares, and at that time, when these things are happening that are actually challenging their whole mindsets, they have a gun in their hands, and people normally end up dead. They shoot people in clubs. They shoot. Remember, there was also the incident last week of, I think this guy was working either in the U.S. Embassy or in the UN. The guy was shot accidentally. These guys were in a club, and someone had a gun, and then they fought, and then they discharged the firearm and they shot someone. So it is a lesson that I think in the society we need to understand, and people need to understand that masculine frame is software. It is not hardware. It doesn't mean if you are jacked and muscular and you're powerful and you're loud and you are aggressive. It doesn't mean that is not what a masculine frame is. So those are some of the things that we really need to teach people. Probably we'll have a session to discuss that, because it's a very important thing. It can actually determine between life and death for a man. If your frame is not strong, you can easily end up killing yourself. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So is that not again then? Because the thing is, if as men are consistently being asked to be men and to act like men, is it always? You don't have you what has been your weakest point as a man, Aliet? Kuna mara umesikia idoga hapa ni kama kwa mwanaume na kwa ngori.
Yeah, you see, most of the times, your romantic partner or your romantic life, because it's something that people are not taught, and that's why I titled my book "Things Our Fathers Did Not Teach Us." Fathers don't teach their sons how to kiss a girl, for example. Those are things you watch in movies, and you copy those behaviors. Nobody teaches you how you're supposed to love a woman. You watch how your father interacts with your mother. You pick some things. The rest you pick from Spanish soaps. And the Spanish soaps and Hollywood are going to teach you some very different things about how women perceive love and relationships. And that is why now you find most men, particularly because of the idea of soulmate and 180s, they invest themselves so heavily in their relationships that when those relationships end, they completely throw them out of balance and they end up doing crazy things. So that is what happens. I think Rollo Tomasi calls it strategic pluralism, where you put everything in your relationship in the hopes that when you do that, you've shown your commitment, you've shown your dedication, you've shown your loyalty, it's going to be reciprocated. But actually it works. Oftentimes it works the other way around. And that's what men are not able to deal with. So that's what we are trying to teach you guys, so that when you end up disappointed, you're not surprised and you have the tools to actually navigate that particular outcome.
Okay. Yeah. Magnus, what has been your weakest point as a man? Hata saa zile unahubiria watu unaambia, be a man, handle things like a man. Have you ever had your moment of weakness where you feel like... Of
course, for sure, man. I've had, of course, there are very many instances, and I think those are the things that build your mental fortitude, they build your mental calluses when you're doing gym, right? You build those calluses on your soft hearts that you can be able now to start lifting even heavier weights and handling even harder material, you know. It is important to go through that because for sure, soft times create soft men. And you've got to be able to go through hardships and understand that, you know, this idealistic thing that you've been taught by Hollywood or being taught by the genocentric world that, you know, things are easy and dandy and nice and everything is nice and happy. Things are not like that. That's not how the world operates. You are the own captain of your ship. If even every ship will hit a storm. It doesn't matter how good that ship is. It doesn't matter how well navigated whoever the captain is, that ship will hit a storm. Just know in your life, when you do hit a storm, what would you do? And you got to be able to handle some things in certain ways. It's good to have community of men. For me, I just say that's the first thing. Because you can't really rely on yourself all the time, right? First, of course, build your mental calluses, like I've said, and have a community of men. So that even when things get tough, you can go back and say, hey, guys, I'm going through this. I just want to talk about it. If you guys have any insights, please give me so that I can be able to handle or make the next step in my life. It really does help to do that. Every single man who's right now successful, even if you talk about business success, if you talk about financial, if you talk about relationship, marriage, every single man has gone through some really tough times. And you've got to be able to go through that to be able to understand. Sometimes you never have all the answers. That's why I say build and be in a community of men that you can sit down with and you tell them the issues that you have and get different opinions, get different perspectives. And that will help you now also open up yourself to learning new things. You tell me something and I'll sit back and I say, hey, you know, as long as you're open to learn, as long as you're open to receive, different perspectives, and it'll help you. But I say, whatever you do, just know you'll go through hard times. Ask yourself, when I do hit that rough patch, how will I navigate it? What will I do? Do I need to scale down my life? Do I need to do what? What do I need to do? Do I need to change something about my life? Do I need to reinvent myself? Do I need to cut back on certain things? For example, if you're partying, and women and alcohol, what do I need to do to go back to the life that I want to? And I say, you're the captain of your ship. Just know you'll hit a storm, but what will you do when you hit the storm?
Okay. All right. Vincent Omusungu locked. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Vincent, for tuning in this evening. Zakario Cheng. Aliet Gudos, bro, I'm tuned. Asante. Stephen Gitao. Hello, gentlemen. I'm tuned in from Juja Farm. Asante, Stevo. Nyakwar Worth, plugged into unplug from Aero. Mr. Kungu the man, the legend. Oh, Black Aliet, good to see you. Aaron Kimgiana watching live from Bomet. Asante sana to Bomet. Black unplugging to an alpha male. Say 8 to Aliet. Kolo. Yeah. Asante sana, Kolo. Joe Muganda, good to see you, Joe. Joining you again for Birmingham, United Kingdom, listening on my way to work. Thank you so much, all the diasporans. Thank you for always tuning in. It's always a pleasure. You guys make us who we are. Zakaria Cheng Aliet, how do you deal with a woman or wife who feels financially empowered more than the husband to an extent of doing almost everything in regards to providing and paying bills? Okay. Dennis Oyare, kudos, great men for educating men to be men. Asante. Stephen Moses Kitao, gentlemen, there's something I think we need to address. We look at the top successful guys and envy their lifestyle, but we don't know the demons they are battling. Some find it hard to seek help because of their status and position in the society. How will such men navigate this situation? All right, so tonight we'll be talking about navigating female hypergamy. But before we dive straight into that topic, I would want us to handle the two questions that our gentleman has brought in. You can pick each one. The first one has been addressed to Aliet, that is about the woman a woman of means. Okay, and you can pick the other one, Magnus, on the big men and the fear to seek help. Yeah, Jacob, you can go first.
The issue of a woman who feels financially empowered than the husband.
Yeah,
that she's also doing everything. That means the husband is simply not financially empowered. I don't think the issue here is about the woman. It's about a man who is not able to take up the burden of performance. Many women, okay, not all women, but many women are often willing to fill this power vacuum. If you are a man who is lacking behind and you are not able to do what you're supposed to do as a man, the woman will take over. And for men who are in such positions, what you have to realize is that woman actually is taking over the leadership, because they say that responsibility confers power. Someone who is responsible is also respected and is also powerful. If you let her take up all these bills and responsibilities, do not expect to still be the man in that particular relationship. So my comment will not be about the woman, it will be about the man. Work hard, make sure you take up your burden of performance. The implication there almost is like, this woman is doing this while the man can do it. If that is the case, the man needs to talk to the woman and tell her, this is what you're going to do and this is what I'm going to do. So you do some sort of division of labor. You decide what she'll pay and you decide what you'll pay. But I suspect in this particular situation, this guy is just broke. And he is feeling salty that the woman is taking up the burden of performance and is feeling left behind or excluded. So guys need to work hard. You need to take up the burden of performance as a man. That is what you're built for. And that is what you're supposed to do as a man in a marriage or in a relationship. Yeah.
Right. You pick the next one, that is on the big men and the need to keep a frame.
Yeah, so I think the question was what we need to address.
Read it again, just for clarity.
It says, there's some, gentlemen, there's something, this is Moses Kigitao, it says, yes, gentlemen, there's something I think we need to address. We look at the top successful guys and envy their lifestyle, but we don't know the demons they are battling. Some find it hard to seek help because of their status and position in the society. How will such men navigate this situation? I mean, put down your ego, number one, for sure. If you have friends, I'm sure you have people who are your peers who you can talk to. Definitely. If you don't have, then you have a problem. Every man, even, let's talk about, number one, he has people around him, I'm sure he can speak to about his personal male issues, masculinity issues. He can speak to other men and can listen. No one is immune to being given advice. And everyone should be able to sit and be told, okay, Appa, I think you can do this and this, or why don't you look at it this way? It's all about learning and unlearning. The men, this is what I say. Sometimes, yes, we do look at them and say, look at this guy, he's doing so well, but deep down he's suffering. But it's a choice to suffer, because as much as they say it's lonely at the top, you don't have people to talk to. I'm sure you have peers to talk to. I'm sure you have a brother you can talk to. I'm sure you have a good friend you can talk to. Doesn't matter how rich or powerful or wealthy you are. There is someone who you can talk to about your personal issues. The same way when you have financial issues, you'll go to a banker. You want to build something, you want money, you'll go and, have financial issues, you'll go and talk to your banker and tell him, hey, I need a loan of ABCD. What is so hard in doing the same for a man? There are other ways they could do if they don't want to go to friends or people who they know. They can visit a specialist. There are male advisors who can help them, right? They can pay for consultants who can come into their space and deal with them professionally and help them navigate certain issues. So there's absolutely no excuse. That is my opinion. It doesn't matter your station in life. You should be able to wake up and say, hey, I need a solution on ABCD, and how can I get it? Do I look within my network? Do I look out of my network? And as a man, you need to be able to be a problem solver. You need to be able to solve things. Even when things are bad, you should be able to learn how to navigate to, walk out of them. So That's how I'll say they navigate. They just first put down their ego and just be willing to learn, be willing to look at something from a different perspective. They already do that with if they're struggling financially, or if they want a financial solution. For example, they want a huge loan. He already will navigate this situation by going to his banker or visiting a new banker or visiting a consultant, a financial consultant, and ask him, how do I capitalize this, what I have currently, and the consultant would ask him, can you sell ABCD, for some money to be able to do that. So the same way you'll do it financially, the same way you should do it for his own personal life. So there's absolutely no excuse, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Something here from, I think it should be a lady, on TikTok. It's just a long write-up, so I think I'll read through it.
Please.
I hope she's watching. She's from Uganda. So I hope you're watching. I'll just read it out, then you guys can make any comments that you think would be appropriate. So this lady says, good evening, sir. I assume it's a man. Yes, it's men. Hope you are fine. I always ask for my parents, my dad's, permission to date or even go out on a date. I never slept around and was still a virgin after college. Dated 1 or 2 men, but only arguing, no further intimacy. I met a man just not strikingly handsome or looked like he had money. Dated him, but my parents disapproved because I had a better education than him, and men can commit to a woman below them easily. I think that is now to the hypergamy conversation. I got pregnant and moved in with him. Never asked for money from him. Not even my mom would allow to exploit him. Atipesa ya chama, starting capital. One of my friends, for I find a financially prudent man wise. Okay, it's a bit confusing. I think he can be able to sustain the family. I honored him, never talked back to him, let alone sneer or tell my family or friends about him. I appreciated him daily, and for whatever he gave me, for I understood it was a sacrifice. First day cohabiting at this place, he was telling the chick, she was telling me, tell your dad to pay rent. Huh? Tell your dad to pay rent. Low women, these, I think they are the laws of Uganda. Western Uganda. Low women, these, women from Western Uganda, that threats when I used his electronics talking down to me spitefully. When I found Budala notice a 1K in Kenya, almost like a dictionary thickness. Zoomed in photos of fat women on my phone. Wow, okay. Insulted me before his neighbors, never introduced me to his visitors. I was bitter with him, but couldn't even tell him off. When there was any slight discomfort, he would really be salty and insult me. I explained to him that I got tired, for he didn't have a plan for me in his life. He wasn't willing to share with me, and obviously wouldn't share with the child. I left him. I lost attraction in men. In fact, I started dating other men, factoring in money only. One sent me to get 10 or 20 men in 2 weeks, and I got one. Got engaged and pregnant in his house. Had my kuingira introduction in Uganda and civil wedding. We are happily married for as long as the money flows. Learned to appreciate a man, what he defines himself with. Nana pesa. You're gonna note.
First and foremost, pesa. First, I must commend her for what, from the story that she's given. Hopefully that, she has actually given us the lowdown of how it is. That she stayed a virgin and, listened to her dad. That was very important. And only thing now is when she made a choice to be with a man who was not financially prudent. That was not a bad choice. I think the bad choice that she made was that they didn't have a plan. And possibly that is now where she went wrong. Not having, many men have married and they're not financially well, but they have a plan and have built themselves over time. Because men have to build their value. Women are born with their value. And I know very many men, some of them are my peers, they started from really, really low, much lower than we can ever imagine. And today they are multimillionaires. And they built this wealth in the last maximum 10 years. So for almost 35 years, they really, really struggled. And now they are really doing well. They're multimillionaires. So she did make a mistake with, staying with a man who was, of course, abusive. That's the first thing she should have seen. I think she missed this parts of the story she has not told us. She probably didn't see the red flags or she ignored them. And that now has led her to where she is. Again, that's hypogamy. Hypogamy now is the opposite of hypergamy, what we're going to talk about, which is now marrying lower than than her status and her position in life, which is not a bad thing. Many women have done it. It shouldn't be the first. Other women have made it. Other women have made their marriages work, and their men have built themselves to even build more than they ever expected. Others, of course, haven't. So I think it's just mixed in terms of when a woman chooses down, it is really it's a 50-50 chance either way. Even just like marriage, if you get married, it's still a 50-50 chance to stay together with money or without money.
Or without money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any comments you wish to make?
Yes, I think our fundamental mistake was not taking the advice of the parents, particularly the dad. I've seen a situation where most marriages that don't end up well, every time I ask, what did your dad say? You find most of the times either they ignore the dad's advice or they did not involve the fathers. So like for this lady, it was very simple. She was not hypergamous. We look at why hypergamy is important. And it's normally a mistake for a lady to marry a man who has not yet found himself. He's not able to become productive. Most of the times, marriage itself actually makes men, many men who've not discovered themselves end up becoming bogged down completely. And they don't get a chance to realize their potential if they get married. So that's why I encourage guys, get married once you've been able to ground yourself, identify yourself, and establish trust with yourself. So I think for her, she made a mistake. And it's just to learn from it and make better choices in future.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Davis, Freddie Benz, Fitness Matters, good evening, panelists. Good evening to you. Timothy Wanyuike. The show has helped me. I was a weaker man in terms of masculinity, but I'm getting to understand things clear. I no longer beg a lady to be with me. Sante sana Wanyuike. MD Makanga logged in from 001. Zakario Cheng. Well answered. Burden of performance is what a man is built for. Black, that is Kolo. Aliet, to regard to that question raised by Ocheng, do you believe in splitting of bills in household, putting in terms that both husband and wife are financially sound? Zachary Boychild has been in deep trouble in regards to dealing with hypogamy. Okay. Hypergamous women. Hypergamous women, and if we don't stand firm, they will do what? They will, I think, I'm losing that comment a bit. They will, okay, as literally seeking advice helps a lot. No one is immune to advice. All right. So Aliako, Aliet, is it okay to share this?
It is not only okay, it is necessary, because you see, one of the things, and this has been a challenge, when people are empowering the girl child, most of the times, the girl child is told that they need to be competitive, they need to put their career forward. But many women don't know what they're supposed to do with the money they make from their career. So that's why you find these women are having all these, they're making trips, girl trips and so on, while their husbands are struggling with the bills. So it is very important to share responsibilities with your woman. But as much as possible, don't have it 50-50. The man is supposed to take the heavier weight of the responsibilities, because that is the role of a man. The provision and protection of the company, of the family, is supposed to be the role of the man. So maybe it's like 70-30. 70-30 should be okay. It's supposed to be a three-legged stool, because also if it is four-legged, it becomes a big challenge. And many women start feeling what we call the buyer's remorse. So absolutely share, because the reason also, one thing you will see is that if you're not sharing, she might as well become a housewife, so that she just stays at home and takes care of the kids. If she's going to work and making some income, then she needs to make some contribution. Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in sharing?
That's a good. He actually said exactly what I wanted to say. Women should share bills in the home. I think the part of the 70-30 makes absolute sense. I've always said it's not 50-50. Why? Because as a man, you lead, you take more responsibility. And at the end of the day, if a woman does not want to share, part of the bills, for example, you say, kitchen, everything to do with kitchen and home is her bill for food. For example, let's say food, not necessarily kitchen, food and taking care of the maid, making sure the children are okay. Those are her bills. And you can quantify it because you already know how much you spend. So if you say you spend 10K, for example, on that, and her salary is 50K, she should be able to take care of that. And if she can't, she can always reach out to you. Why? Because it makes her responsible, and it also puts it. What she will put in, she will value what she's putting in when she's doing that. She will value the marriage. She will value the work that she's putting in. If you give her everything, like you're saying, let her be a housewife. Yeah, if she doesn't want to if she doesn't want to contribute anything in the home, then she should leave that job and come and be a housewife. Yeah, because why did women get empowerment? They went to work so that they can make money and also be able to support their families. Exactly. So if she's out there working, then she should actually, in fact, it goes without saying, she should and must contribute. It's just the percentages for the man should be more. The woman should be able to take care of certain responsibilities, and it's thoroughly her responsibilities. And remember, women are also, they are very well adjusted in marriages or relationships where they're giving and where they're contributing. When she's the one who's receiving all the time, what happens? At some point, she starts dharauing it. She starts seeing it like, hiki tu nimepewa tu, I don't even deserve it. Does this man even deserve me? She starts actually resenting you. It's a very weird thing. I think it's part of what we'll call the female nature. So let her have some responsibilities. Afanye kazi. Anafanya kazi, wacha arudishe pesa nyumbani. Ajenge nyumbani.
Just to add on that, it also prepares her also to be able to continue in case something happens to you. Because men also die. And it is very wrong for a woman to sit back and just be comfortable that the husband is taking care of business. They remain completely ignorant about how to survive, so that if the man dies, then she and her kids are left in a very bad situation. So having also participate in this also helps her
builds
to
up
prepare.
endurance for the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
very important.
And that's one of the things that is really underestimated, in the sense that if anything happens to your partner today, the same thing that you were talking about last time, that even men should learn to do basic things like cooking, utensils, being in the kitchen and all that, because it prepares you for self-reliance. What happens if your partner is no longer there? So yes, I think I agree with that. So I also want to remind you that you can listen to these conversations on Spotify. We upload the show. We'll upload this conversation on Spotify, so you can listen when you're in traffic, like our good friend in the UK. When you're driving to work, you can put in your Spotify, look for Postcard Planner Studio, and you can always listen up to these conversations after the show. You can always pick up and take your notes as we move forward. Also, if you are seeking, you're trying to be a content creator, we also have a space for you can check us out. That is Podcast Planet on Instagram. You can check it out. You can speak to us right there, and we have the best equipment in town. So if you are trying to be a content creator, if you want to do what we do, maybe hata wewe unataka kuanza conversation ya wanaume mahali huko, then you can always come in. We give you space and we make your podcast dream come true. Your content creation of podcast dream come through. You can check on the screen. You can call us 779-800-010, or you can check us out on Instagram. That is Podcast Planet. Okay. Gideon Kimwang watching live from Nakuru. Saira Limo, good to see you. Asante sana, Sairo. When you join in, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And that's like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Let us know where you're watching us from this morning. Also, if you have any question, please send it to us on the comment section. Either on YouTube, where we are live, that is New Day TV, and also on Facebook, New Day TV. Send us your questions so that we can respond and answer them. Evans Muridi, following from Meru. Asante Masaso Combo, watching from Windhoek, Namibia. Good to see you. All the guys from Namibia and diasporas, we really appreciate your support and for always tuning in. Please share this conversation to as many men as you can, so that we make every man a better man. Hata tukikuja Namibia, or when you come to Namibia, just in case you lost us there because of Swahili, when you come to Namibia, we also want to meet you guys, and we know we get to realize that we've made a transformation of men across borders. Okay? Now, I think we dive straight into the conversation of the day, and that is navigating female hypergamy. And navigating female hypergamy, and all the word itself sounds a bit big. So we will start first of all by breaking down what exactly does it mean. What is female hypergamy? And then, we go in deep into the conversation. I'll start with you, Magnus. First of all, what is hypergamy? Before we even talk about female hypergamy, what is hypergamy?
Okay, I think we'll tackle this from a very factual place, because many people will talk about hypergamy being very many different things about women. But hypergamy is simply the practice of seeking a partner of higher socioeconomic status or greater resources. It could also be security. It could be someone who's more secure than yourself. So it could be someone even who is, of course, the status is higher. Maybe you have the same amount of money, but they have a better social standing or better security in terms of how even they deal with themselves, how they handle themselves, how they're confident they are. So it's actually marrying up, right? So it's selecting a partner with superior resources, and resources could be many things. Of course, money is one of them. Wealth. It could also be how, like I say, even character sometimes. But it's mostly related to the money side and the money resources side. Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, female hypergamy.
Yeah, so hypergamy, in sociology, most of the times when you talk about hypergamy, the origin was in the Indian caste system, which is arranged in some form of a pyramid. And at the top, we have the Brahmins or the priests, and down at the bottom of the pyramid, you have the pariahs, who are the untouchables. So sociologists noted that the females or the women among the Indians, they wanted to marry up that social hierarchy. Because in India, that caste system practices what is called endogamy. Endogamy is where you marry within the same caste. But although in society in general, we normally have what we call homogamy. Homogamy or associative mating is where you see rich people marrying daughters of rich people and vice versa. When you meet a girl, you find your parents asking, who are your parents? What are they called? Where do they come from? I think the Kikuyus called it the dedes. The dedes are the people who, particularly it was something that was among the older Kikuyu people, where they're saying the Jugunas, the Kamaus, the so-and-sos, so that if you are marrying from the Njugunas, for example, whatever the Njugunas are known for, those qualities are supposed to be inherited, and so on and so forth. So that was called homogamy or associative mating. And in general, that has been the trend. But because of female empowerment and now the voices, particularly of the fathers, being lost or dying, and we have now the situation where women are able to choose, particularly when this thing called love was introduced as a basis or as a formula for marriage, then this pattern of hypergamy started appearing very, very clearly. And it was seen that many women were marrying across and up social hierarchies. And the men are expected to bring a lot of human capital, where you ask a new man, what kind of a man do you want? They will always want a man who is taller than them, stronger, more educated, richer, maybe funnier, charismatic, and so on. That is now what hypergamy is. When a woman wants to marry someone who has better or bigger qualities than herself. So it's normally an expectation that women have. And you see, the thing is, the society is very interesting. Because if you look at the story of Stella by, was it called Mwamburi? What was it? You see, that was also just hypergamy. When this woman went and met that Japanese fellow, it was a Japanese, a Japanese or a Chinese? Yes. Japanese. Yes, that guy. You see, this guy who paid for her school fees, he had to basically bankrupt himself to pay to fund a flight and a school fees. So he was a pauper. This woman went there and found someone who had more means. The story of Cinderella is a very good example of hypergamy, where Cinderella, of course, is a poor girl, and she's living with this cruel stepmother and her daughters, and they go to a ball to dance, and then she has a fairy godmother who helps her to go there and meet a prince who is rich, and then Cinderella, of course, stops being a poor little girl. And also, what's very important and very interesting is that the top richest women right now, they became rich by divorcing their husbands. So it shows you that hypergamy is what is operating even at the very top of the world as we speak right now. So it's something that is very, very important for men to understand, but it's also very, very complicated, as we are going to discuss and see in a short while, because it behaves in a very, very insidious way. Yeah, so that is what hypergamy is. And it's a female characteristic because for men, as Morgan has mentioned, we engage in hypogamy without any problem. Because most men just look for fertility markers, which we call beauty. A woman who is beautiful, we don't care whether she has a PhD and so on. So long as she's young, youthful, friendly, and very feminine, you'll find that a CEO is marrying a bartender or a waitress or even a clerk. But the reverse is not going to happen. For a female CEO, she'll also look for either a male CEO who has a bigger company, who has more wealth, and so on.
Yeah. I think because you've actually touched on that, maybe you can just help us get a dichotomy of mate selection in terms of difference between men and women, and probably what men should consider in terms of, like you've said, the things that men look at are not necessarily things that women look at when they're doing their mate selections. So maybe you can help us in the same line of the same conversation, the way, how it works, how hypergamy works in terms of mate selections between men and women.
Yeah, you see the way it works, people need to remember that men are success objects and women are beauty objects. And I don't think that will ever change. The problem we have right now is that women are being advised that they need to have a good job, they need to be empowered, they need to be independent. And even women nowadays are very proud to say that I'm a strong woman. There's no man who wants a strong woman, by the way. No man wants a strong woman. That is something that femininity has taught women. And in the end, women become the men that they wanted. So what men look for, as I mentioned, men are looking for beauty, they're looking for youth, they're looking for feminine energy, they're looking for cooperative women. Women are looking for men who are confident, men who are courageous, men who are successful, men who are ambitious, men who are strong. And that is why you see that even characters like in Hollywood, people like Jason Momoa and The Rock, you'll find in most sets in the movies, they're bare-chested. These are muscular men. Because strength is normally appealing, particularly to the female audience. So women looking for strength, but men are not looking for strength in women. It's just because, again, it goes back to our biology. We are going to talk a lot about our evolutionary psychology when you're looking at hypergamy. Because men want to have children. They want to spread their bloodline. So they're looking for women who can cooperate with them in doing that. Yeah.
And actually, so is it called Mike Cannon? Is it Mike Cannon? The guy with many children.
Oh, yes.
So he has finally insured his balls.
Yeah, Maria Carey's former husband. Yeah. I saw that.
What's his name? Nick Cannon. Yes,
He has insured his balls. I don't know how many million. Magnus, what are the survival benefits of hypergamy?
First I must say, Aliet is just breaking hearts here. Aliet has really gone for the jugular.
He has gone ballistic.
I could hear some women's hearts breaking once they listen to that because he has really broken it down. However, in mate selection, yes, it's true. Women do look for, they prioritize socioeconomic status more than men in mate selection. They prioritize how the physical capabilities, the money resources you bring, and even the kind of value you'll bring from a wisdom perspective into that. On the other hand, men, we look for different things. We are, like you're saying, we look for youth. We look for femininity. We look for ability to be able to carry my children. But we can't blame ourselves. That's our nature. We all want to have a lady who we can, be proud of to have and who'll be able to carry our children, and one who's youthful, right? So we do look for very different things. So hypergamy is something that for men, we don't. We marry down. We marry women probably who are socioeconomic status might be much lower than us and their capabilities are much lower than us. That's why men marry younger women anyway. For sure she's starting off in life. You can be able to teach her, mold her, say this is how we do things, this is how you can build this. If it's helping her, if it's building a business, you can build a business with her because then she can learn. You're teaching her the things she should not do, the mistakes that you made. So for men marry down, women marry up. It's a normal thing. In there's a research by Dr. Daniel Conroe Beam and Dr. David Buss. And they found that women actually do prioritize socioeconomic status more than anything else when in mate selection. So it is a thing that is done consistently across the board. Yeah.
There's a question also for you, Aliet. It seems like this session is going to be more interactive. Stephen Mogaka, Stephen listening from Garissa. Good to see you. All the guys from Garissa. Habari gani? Salimia watu wa kinawaria. Tuko pamoja, asante sana. Rodney Mugambi, Bitok. Aliet here, Magnus there. Hi to you, Rodney. My question goes to Aliet because I understand he might have read through this book, Manipulated Man by Villa Esther. Yeah. From this book, Esther Villa, The Manipulated Man, comparing this with your book Unplugged, it seems sex is also the primary agency of women. And as a result, it's subtly used by the feminine gender as their bargaining power. Does it really mean that besides sex being proposed for reproduction, does it mean women do not seriously have it for pleasure, Ama? Like Villa fronts, Villa fronts this argument as if the women actually use sex like that farmer who dangles a carrot in front of a donkey to get it moving.
Yeah, I understand. You see, the thing is...
and I think you've actually talked about this in terms of
women's
sex as an agency.
primary agency is their sexuality. That has always been the case, and it will always be the case. And that is why they spend a lot of time on cosmetics and makeups and so on, because that's how they enhance their sexuality and their beauty. Men don't prioritize those things because the agency of men lies elsewhere. But also something I wanted to, as we are now on to hypergamy, people need to remember that the brain has basically three parts. There's the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain is the one that has the cerebral cortex, and it is responsible for thought, cognition, and so on. Then the midbrain is in charge of things like balance and so on. And then there is also the hindbrain that takes care of sleep, breathing, wakefulness, and so on. Now, that is where now hypergamy lies, because hypergamy is basically an instinct. The thing that men need to understand about hypergamy is that it occurs in two ways. It looks for what we call the alpha seed, because women want children who are strong, who are good looking, and children who can also enhance their own survival as women. So that is what we call the alpha seed. Some people also call it alpha fax. Then there's also the beta need. Now, the alpha seed is short term, and most times women look for this alpha seed when they're ovulating. And when they're in their 20s. In their 30s, the women look for beta males or beta bucks. They want men who can help them to raise the children, who can provide parental investment. In the same way, during the ovulatory cycle, we have also the alpha phase or the luteal phase, and then you also have the second phase or the beta phase. So even the ovulatory cycle of a woman, every 28 days, there's a point in which she's looking for an alpha, and there's a point in which she looks for a beta. So men need to understand that. And women later on, and that's why even in, I'm going to tell young guys who are watching this, a woman who is in campus or who is in college, because the father is taking care of the beta back side of hypergamy, these women can actually love you even though you are a broke guy. They can love you for who you are. But later on, when they're in their late 20s and 30s, these women want to know, what do you bring to the table? That is when that question actually comes up. So the way hypergamy works, it's actually in the hindbrain, and many women actually, they do it without knowing that they're actually trying to optimize their hypergamy. Like when they're abandoning a boyfriend and picking another one, someone who is educated can know this is hypergamy at play. But for her, she thinks that there are some she can give you very different reasons why she's actually doing what she's doing. Or even a woman who, she goes to a party and gets drunk and has sex with some random guy. And then she says, I'm normally not like that, by the way, I don't know what happened to me. But you'll realize it's just hypergamy. Yeah, so that's why this education is also very, very important for guys to understand, and also for women to understand themselves. Yeah.
Okay. So we go straight to the top. I'll give you the first run, Morgan. You just take us straight into the conversation. Hypergamy for the next 5-5. We start with 5-5, then 5 minutes, then we get back to the interactive session. Yeah.
Okay. So I think Aliet has covered something very interesting about alpha seed and beta bucks. That is one of the main things. I think someone put a comment, I think it was on YouTube, about how do we navigate through there's hypergamy, and it's really messing up people. It's interesting to note that, and it's very good for men to understand women's phases, especially the menstrual phase, the 28-day cycle. What he's talking about, that cycle gives her a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings that they'll change her emotions, change her hormones. It's just her hormones going up and down, and it's natural. That's that's her femininity. That's her. You can't change that.
So what women want is never consistent. I thought maybe
it isn't. It isn't.
Wow, okay.
It has never been.
Changes every month.
It changes every month. Every week, every day, every. Well, so they want many things, and they want sometimes nothing. So you have to understand. So for that guy to say, it's to understand hypergamy, it's finishing him. He needs to stop thinking that it'll finish him. At the end of the day, once you understand how a woman's cycle is, and it's important, I think most of us, if not all, did biology, especially in high school. Yeah. And we should have understood by now how this phase works. It goes from up to down, and she wants different things at different times of her of that period of that 28-day cycle, before ovulation or during ovulation. She wants a certain kind of man. And it's also important that now that guy, that question that he asked there is, he needs to understand when his woman is ovulating, he needs to be also a certain type of man at that stage, right? Yes, men are very, what we'll say, and I think we can all agree, very many men are bland. They have a very consistent character. Yes. She knows when you come home. She knows how you cough. She knows when you do a certain thing. She knows you want tea. Unaweza kufanya hivi, anajua unataka kula mkate. Like you're so consistent, but like she knows, she can even tell. So the same way she knows, women understand you're being a certain character, and you're almost, I would say you're very consistent. You also need to understand this phase of a woman is also very consistent, that up, down. And once you understand that and start seeing, in fact, I have an app on my phone that shows me my girlfriend's cycle. And I can tell when she's ovulating, when she's having a period. I can tell all those things.
So you're always changing also yourself?
I also, yes, I change.
Switch from beta, alpha?
Oh, yes.
Depending on the app.
I don't do better, but I probably am a bit more accommodating at a certain point, when I know, especially when she's just about to have a period, I know her mood changes and everything, and I'll be a bit more accommodating to her. I'll even come home with a gift. Not simping, because there's equal value, but I'll just be a bit more, I'll be more caring at that point, understanding that there's something else she needs, and she needs a certain kind of man around that. During ovulation, the same thing. And if you understand these things, it'll help you. And this is what we keep talking about, understanding female nature. It's just understanding that this thing is, once you get it, you will understand, as probably all the women, including your mother. Mm-hmm. Because it's consistent across.
Women are women.
Yes, women are women. The same way men are men, women are women. So I would really highly encourage men to go at it, learn what, the woman you're with, learn her cycles. In fact, one of the things I used to do when I was much younger, I was told not to say this because sometimes it's when I was much younger, when I was not in a committed relationship, I would ask women for their cycle. I would ask them, I'd tell them, give me your calendar. When are you going to, I want to know when you're having your period, so that I can now calculate for myself the days based on biology, so that I understand the days that she's ovulating, the days she's safe. It's true. I did do that. Why? Because I wanted to understand more and understand how to manage and care for this person who is with me. Because at the end of the day, I'm the leader in the home. I'm the captain of the ship. I have to understand, why is she moody today? Well, all of a sudden, she doesn't feel like doing certain things. And yesterday we were fine, today all of a sudden it's changed. And if you don't understand that, you can also, you can have a lot of clash with women. It's normal to have clashes, but understanding that helps you to just navigate how you manage all your relationship or relationships sometimes across the board. Even in the office, it is important to know some of these things. Maybe you might not ask them, I'm not telling you go and ask your bosses or your ladies in the office for that, but just understand there's a certain way they are. All of them have cycles at a certain point. Understand how they operate, so that it gives you an edge over how you handle and master how you deal with certain situations that might come up. Of course, some are probably completely, illogical, But then it gives you opportunity to know, okay, this is logical maybe because this is happening. Let me see how I can manage this well. I urge all men to please understand. If you can go to the bar in fact, there's a gentleman, in fact, I come to it, who learns a lot about whiskey. He knows a lot about whiskey. He knows how it matures, how it's made, where best whiskey comes. He knows so many of those things. But he is a failure when it comes to women relationships. It's normal. But so what he needs to do is learn a bit more about how also women in that cycle and everything that they do, so that he can just, it's just a learning phase. It's for your information. It's not really for probably to become a doctor or a teacher. It's just for you to learn and understand and how to, because you'll probably also get children who are girls. How do you understand them? Right? Or let leave alone even the women who you have a relationship with, or your spouse or your wife.
Aliet, you're gonna up.
No. I think that's a lot of work. But I think it's...
Magnus is really invested.
Yeah, I think that's
I didn't
okay.
even know there's an app.
Yeah, there's an app.
Congratulations.
There's an app.
It's so simple. It just, in fact, it pops up. It shows me she's having. I don't even have to think about it. It pops up like a calendar. Inakuja kuko hivi. I'm ovulate 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. Leo ndio siku. I don't. Let apps do these things for you, brother.
Yeah.
So.
Aliet is quiet.
That one.
These guys are very invested.
No, listen. If it's men only, we also have to understand how the women, because we don't live in a vacuum. You will deal with women every single day where you go, unless you work in a male-oriented place with no women. Absolutely, but still you'll meet them on the road in the social place. No, I only have one banner. It's just I don't need more than one, and it gives me everything. In fact, it's almost like my personal assistant. He tells me this is happening. I'm like, okay, sawa, acha nijipange sasa.
So happy kipop asubuhi iseme hii ni sikio vile hata ulikuwa na mamood zako. So how do you change now you become a better?
Najua leo kimeumana leo.
Kila mtu wako yani this is getting this from Morgan is very interesting. Nasema kumbe yenyewe kila mtu kuna dawa yake. Kama kuna mtu amefanya Morgan akaweka up. Humiliation. Every Goliath has their own stone. Jacob, get into the conversation for the next 5.
Yeah, so what guys need to understand, many men, when they realize women are hypergamous, by the way, all women are hypergamous. Many men, when they realize this, they become very mad. But if you look at it from an evolutionary psychology perspective, hypergamy was the best way to ensure women propagate the best genes, and they also get the best men to help them raise those particular children. So it's an evolved trait, and it has survival advantages for our species. It basically ensures that the best genes are propagated, and that's why we encourage guys to become alphas. Remember that in every generation, women normally propagate about 98% of their own genes, but men only propagate 40%. Only 40% of every man or every generation of men get to breed. And some of these guys are married, by the way. Yeah? I think you remember the story of the footballer who found that all his 4 children, none of them were his.
Wow.
Yeah, so women are very, we normally say with Silas that women are very unforgiving to beta males. Wow. It's like they were planted by nature to ensure that beta males don't get to breed.
Don't survive.
So beta males are very good at raising children. They become dads. They help them to raise these kids, and the alpha males provide the seeds. So guys need to realize that. So the thing about hypergamy is, actually hypergamy is what made me write Unplugged. Because during COVID-19, I had a couple of friends who got divorced. And the reason they got divorced was because one of them, his business went down. There's one who lost his job. And another one did not lose his job, but they still got divorced. So in the process of trying to get to the root cause of why these marriages were ending, that's when I discovered hypergamy. So one situation that I think even Amerix has talked about this. They normally say, if you want to test whether your wife is loyal, one day just ask for leave, maybe for 2 weeks or a month. Go home, tell your wife you've been fired, and act very sad, and just sit at home and see what happens. You will see the kind of person that you're living with. So normally it's just hypergamy, because women want to make sure that they have the best man available. And when you are fired, she starts questioning, is this the best man available for me? And many of them check out of marriages. So it's a very, very important thing. And it also happens, hypergamy also manifests itself in this way. You could be having a fairly good job. She also has a good job. But then you settle. You become overweight. You don't get a promotion. You're just watching spectator sports, hanging out with your buddies in clubs. What she does, on the other hand, she attends evening classes. She gets a master's degree. She's attending all these groupings like Rotaract. She has a chama. They are doing all sorts of investments, money market funds. She's going to the gym. And you're just sitting there, you snoring, you fall asleep in front of the TV, you're snoring, your bank account is just the same. She's getting promotion. That also hypergamy. She's going to leave you. That happens a lot in marriages. And so this is why we need to talk to guys about this, because I know so many guys. I had a case of a guy whose wife left because he lost his job during COVID. What this guy did, unfortunately for him, of course, the wife swept everything in the house. So he just bought a mattress, and then he will just sit in that house with his drinks. So he just buys drinks and then he drinks. He doesn't cook, he doesn't eat. Wow. This guy, after a while, guys realize so-and-so is quiet. He doesn't talk, he's not responding in WhatsApp groups. They just went and found him dead, surrounded by empty bottles. Wow. So there are guys who, when hypergamy comes calling, it finds them completely unprepared, and they end up killing themselves. Others, of course, we had that example of that cameraman. I think that was also another thing.
Yeah, an NTV guy.
An NTV cameraman. That again is hypergamy, where she leaves you for your boss. Women also make those, because what we tell guys is women are driven by survival or value. This issue of romance is something that men came up with, but women don't prioritize romance that much. Women look at survival advantages that they can get from relationships. And so even when you're looking at hypergamy, that's why you also have to look at Brifold's law. Brifold's law says that it's a female that decides the circumstances under which a relationship happens. And that's why women are the ones who file divorce 70 to 80% of the time. Most of the times, the men just settle in. So hypergamy is a very important concept for men to understand. And that's why we talk about taking up the burden of performance, providing leadership. Because when a woman tells you, I want a man who is taller than me, who earns more than me, I want a man who is more educated than me, I want you to be more intelligent than me, it means she's looking for a leader. So women are looking for leaders. If you go into that relationship and you don't take up leadership, again, you'll make her feel she did not pick the right guy. She didn't optimize hypergamy. Many women nowadays also leave those relationships. Yeah.
You walk out. Okay. Pastor Robert Blood, good to see you, my brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share the broadcast. And we also need you on the panel. Last time I met you, we agreed that you need to come on board. We need to have a conversation with you. So please make some time next Sunday. Make sure you join us so that we can have a bigger conversation. But thanks so much for tuning in. Kipchumba K. Dan, asante sana, my brother, all the way from Eldoret. Thank you for tuning in. Kindly ask the panelists, what is it that makes women like more men who are more unfaithful than they that are faithful? Some of them wanapenda bad boys over the good men. And some of this is because you find that if a man marries a second wife, and even the third and fourth is likely to come in. And there's a guy, some nice guy who does not even have one. Robert Burana said, the well-spoken Jacob, as soon as I get back for sure. Karibu sana ndugu yangu. And enjoy your stay there. Please, on Sunday, make sure you join us.
So,
you want to go in with that?
Magnus,
yeah.
Yes, so alpha seed, beta bucks, that will always remain as it is. Alpha men are leaders, and that is why women will want them. They might be, when people think it's bad boys, you probably consider, that guy, people who beat people up in the club and, reckless. That is not the definition of an alpha, or even a bad boy. A bad boy could be just he just runs, he just does things as he has his own rules. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a rogue, he's a bad guy, beats people up, shoots people up all the way. No. He just lives his life, he's confident, he has his own rules, and he goes by it. He doesn't, run by how, the world really runs, with their own rules. So it's not that they like those bad boys necessarily. Of course, bad boys give them an opportunity to be wild, and women also love that part of partying and enjoying life, and that comfort. That there's something they love about that man who will give them that opportunity, because you, who's probably too rigid and wants specific things, she's not going to get from you. And let's admit, a woman will never get everything from you. The same way you will not get everything from a woman. It's her choice to be with you, and she can just choose to be with one man all her life. But again, we are human beings. She'll probably get some other thing from someone else, and not necessarily even someone who's in some romantic relationship. She needs something from her father. She needs something probably from uncles, big brothers, or brothers. So she'll always be looking for something else from a man, which you might not be able to consistently give her, or even give her. But at the end of the day, it's all about leadership. So when we say alpha, it's not necessarily bad boy. She's just looking also for that fun, that spontaneity, something that is different, something that is wild. Depending again on her upbringing, that alpha changes. So don't consider alpha being a bad boy necessarily. But always remember, women just want leadership, and if you provide it for them, well and good. If she feels it's not good enough for her, she's free to leave at the end of the day and go to someone else who will provide that leadership.
But Jacob, this question is very specific. Dan is asking, why is it that women like unfaithful men over faithful men? Like inaweza kuwa jamaa akona tayari na akona 3 women, and the 4th one will always come in without question. But one loyal guy is struggling to get the agency.
There are very good reasons why women like unfaithful men. There's a dynamic called pre-selection. And this pre-selection is why if I was to go maybe with a single guy to a club, the fact that I'm married and have a wedding ring, it makes me more attractive than this single guy. Because it means that there's a certain woman who has found me worthy of investing herself in me. It means I've been tested.
You have a track record.
Yeah, I have a track record. And so that is one. Women use pre-selection a lot. Women evolved because of being hunter-gatherers. They evolved to become, what do we call it? They operate in collectives. That's why when a woman meets a man, the first thing she does, she calls her girlfriends. And she tells them, hey, I've met this guy. And they all huddle around, and they say, who is he? How does he look like? What does he do for a living? So, and that's why many women also run their relationships using committee. When the man cheats on her, she calls her girlfriends, and the committee, and whatever they decide is what she does. So, women tend to really place a lot of value on what their friends or other women are doing. That's why pre-selection is a very strong dynamic. And that's why these so-called womanizers, they end up becoming womanizing, because the more they cheat, the more women find them attractive. So that is how it works. And it's because of women operating in collectives. So a man who has been tested, they feel they can also rely on him, because other women have vetted him in a sense. And also the other thing is many women also like drama. You'll find most of these guys who are abusers and cheaters and so on, the women will stick to them because those are relationships that are full of drama. Women enjoy emotional highs. Even if the emotional high is a negative emotion, they prefer that to a man who is boring, in quotes. If you're not going to deliver any emotional high, I think I posted a tweet last week about a Luya woman who was married to a Kamba. And she was saying, maybe nimtandike ndio achangamke. Because this guy is so calm. He has no drama. He goes to work. He comes home. He doesn't question her.
There's no thrill.
Yeah, there's no thrill. So this woman is wondering, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't cheat. He doesn't beat me. So she was now asking, guys, maybe nitandike huyu jamaa ndio achangamke.
Ndirudishe mkono.
So that happens a lot with women. And that is why also women also tend to also cause drama, even in relationships. There are many women who cause a lot of drama. They'll just start a fight over nothing. They tell you who has texted you just now, who was calling you.
Na hata ilikuwa Safaricom mama
Maybe in Safaricom wamekuongeza bonga points.
Mwambia dear.
Wanakwambia who is that calling you? Atakwambia
Kama KCB imekuandikia happy birthday.
Ama unaambiwa unanuka perfume fulani. Hii perfume ni ya nani? Hata hakuna perfume unanuka. Ama amenyamaza tu, unamuuliza why you so quiet? What's the problem? Kwambia there is no problem. What makes you think there's a problem? Na vile anakujibu unaona kuna shida hapa. Anataka ujijazie sasa. You see? So that is something that is part of female nature. And you can find, for example, she's complaining every day, maybe about her girlfriends. Unamwambia si wachane nao ma girlfriends wako. Anakuambia you are not getting it. Unaona? So you find even the friendships they keep. Some of them they are just kept because of the drama value that they have. So that's also another dynamic that women have. They are attracted by problems. And bad boys bring problems.
And they're good. They survive in the market. Yeah. So Dan, as a follow-up question, is asking, is that also another form of hypergamy? Magnus? The fact that women select, the bad boys. Is it asking, is it a form of hypergamy? Well, this nice guy is very good, but he's not getting through the gate. Or this guy, he has all the terrible descriptive behaviors, but they still run after them. Is it a form of hypergamy? Women selecting, like what Aliet is saying, men with a track record who have proof of use.
Yes, well, I believe it is one, but it's also driven by probably, for that one, I would say it has a lot also to do with her bringing, because there's some women who they wouldn't be attracted to a bad boy because of how probably they've been brought up, or they wouldn't see that as a mate that they would go for. They would, keep him at a distance, even if he's a nice-looking guy, because they probably understand. But a lot of them probably they would use that as a way to just get to enjoy a certain part of their lives that the other man who has maybe ni jamaa wa kanisa memfungia sana, mvalisha rinda kila siku na headscarf na hapa nakutana na jamaa mwingine hapa anaitwa Magnus
bad boy,
jamaa anamwambia vaa short skirt, vaa black dress, heels, twende out nikupeleke out tuchangamka, nikuchukue nikupeleke mahali tukae pamoja kidogo, and they also want that thrill and that fun. But it's also, I'd say it is probably a bit of part of hypergamy, because they're enjoying, they select a mate who's giving them different characters, right? So this is not necessarily on the experience, on the resources side, but it's experiences. She also wants to experience something different. So even as a man, once in a while, unajua kama ni bibi yako, once in a while mwambie, pigie simu mwambie, madam, leo nataka uvae kalega black dress vaa na ile heels vaa, alafu uchukua cab tuende pale nikutane na wewe kona fulani pale Westlands. I'm coming to pick you up. Just you, I tell her no, I want to pick you up. Nataka usikie vile watu wanasikiaga wakisema pick me up.
Na drama sasa utatoa wapi? Kama drama inahitajika, kuna mahali unaweza order
drama is normal drama is normal for women. It is part of their female nature. It is part of their femininity. And like I say, like as a man also love, even you should inject some drama. You should inject, lazima inject kidogo.
Zingine unapanga drama.
Una inject kidogo sababu ukiwa too boring, hata yataanza kukudharau, sema mimi tu ndio nachangamsha hii place. Basi na wewe changamsha kidogo.
Hey, what do women want? Interesting. Anyway, Zenas K. following, I like your conversations. Thank you so much for joining. Please go also to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Search New Day TV on YouTube, and please make sure that you can subscribe and also send it to as many men as you can. Kipchumba Kedan, wow, this guy dissected properly. Asante. Walter Bravo, yes, what Aliet is saying is true. Some lady once questions my coolness and calmness of handling things. Atu kuenda mbali thereafter. So unaweka drama kidogo. So sprinkle of drama. On that note, muko na app. Kipchumba, uko na app. Borale, uko na app. Uko na PA. All right, let's check out what the guys are also saying on YouTube. Elisha Imtrix Magnus and his PA, aka Up. Black Bramwell, angalia credible hearts that have very nice things there. Kolo Aliet and Magnus, a case of Vera Sidika and this dude of us, is that a case of hypergamy, or what can we describe? It seems the dude's pockets are yawning, and like Vera, but maybe it was for the looks. Na niliona alikuwa na basha divorce party. Swali iko hapa.
You cannot take a woman from the streets and make her a wife. Forget about it.
Uongo hiyo.
Hiyo ni uongo bana. Huyo jamaa tu, I think she just chose him mid selection for the looks. Atampatia brown babies. If you remember, Vera was very, very dark. Alikuwa black bana.
Kitambo.
Shikwekwe. Alikuwa black, so she had to use she had to use her money to make her look the way she looks now. So her genes have not changed.
Okay.
So she has to look so she actually practiced hypergamy, looks for a guy who's light brown, probably give her nice babies, and that was it. And that was the use for the guy. The guy was just he was actually just a donor, sperm donor. The fact is he chose wrong. He should have never chosen a woman from the streets. You will never marry. You can. Huwezi fuga kunguru bana. I don't know how many times we have to tell
Kunguru afugwi.
Kunguru hafugiki. So just forget about it. If he should have just said, yes, we want children, fine. If she's the woman that he wants to have children with, fine. And forget about it, have a child, wale ama mwache na mtoto. Just enjoy to spread his seed around. But, the fact that, I don't know whether he has money or not, I have not checked out his story. But, that's just trying to get her. That was just a wrong move.
Amesema marriage is a scam. Alikuwa anapatia divorce party.
I heard that she had a very tough, I don't know if you heard that story. She had a very crazy, even women are talking about it, that she had a crazy divorce party this weekend. And dungaing a knife into a cake, and doing things. I think women are doing it now, but it's just a form also of just courting attention. Just courting. Yeah, it's just courting. It's just drama. Just remember, women love drama, so let them enjoy it.
Okay. Aliet, would you describe it differently?
Yeah, no, I need to weigh in on that aspect of whether it's hypergamy. When women are looking for the alpha seed, alphas have what we call the dark triad personalities. And dark triad personality normally is a spectrum of Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and narcissism. So these bad guys who are cheating on women and so on, they are people who they put themselves first. Many times they are guys who are given to impulse. So they are very good. They can become very violent in a short while and so on. So in a way, it's also still hypergamy because they're looking for the alpha seed. What guys need to remember, because I've had challenges here where gym instructors, the gym trainer or the gym instructor is an alpha. It's a contextual alpha, because in the gym, he's one who's telling guys, left to your left heart, you do this, you do that. And
strong.
Yeah, he's strong, he's in good shape and so on. But normally, most of the time, they're not very good financially. So there are many women who fall for them. Maybe because they are ovulating or whatever the case. They are cougars. Also women in the cougar stage, they want the horizontal action so much. They get it from these gym trainers. And many times, they even start long-term relationships with them, not knowing that the interest in the alpha is normally a short-term interest. So women also need to understand that you can have an interest in an alpha, but normally it is short-term, because most times, the unfortunate thing in nature is that nature has not bequeathed these alphas with better characteristics. So you'll find a guy who is alpha, who is a bad boy. Most of the times they don't have any good stable careers. They are not able to have the financial independence and the financial muscle that these women are looking for in the beta males. And that's why many married women, they marry betas, but they cheat on the betas with the alphas. So many men are raising kids who are not theirs. So it's part of hypergamy. Remember, hypergamy is dualistic. It's you looking for the beta male provider and the alpha seed. And the alpha seed can actually be in a man who is, in terms of the financial ladder or social ladder, he is nothing. Many women have had children from watchmen, for example.
Wow.
Unapata huyu jamaa anafungua gate, kumbe
Anafungua gate.
when your son becomes a teenager and unaona hii walking style niona wapi?
Yeah, he looks familiar.
It looks very familiar. You don't realize, this is that yule nani.
Kama mapua inaangalia tu
Yule jamaa alikuwa anatufunguliaga gate ile nini. So you realize now then it is too late. So these things happen, and people need to understand the dynamic. At the end of the day, it's just about survival. But you need to have awareness. Situational awareness is very important. The problem with us as men, in the society today, we are all raised to be beta males. And 80% of the men in the society are beta males. And that's why that example of Nick Cannon you gave.
Yes.
Nick Cannon, even right now, I think he has 9 baby mamas. Yeah. There are women who are lined up to have his children. Beautiful women who have jobs and they are young and so on. And it's because these women are overlooking all these beta males around them. Even when women go to the internet and say, where are all the good men? It's not because good men are not there. It's because the men around them, they're all beta males. They don't want them. They want the alpha. But the alphas are few. And those alphas, normally, they're either married or they also have another harem of baby mamas that are also harassing them. They are tired. So that is what happens with women. Most women, and we normally say that a woman would rather be saddled with a cheating alpha than be with a faithful beta. So that's why we have the side chick phenomenon. It's really increasing because of this. Many women would rather be a side chick to a mheshimiwa than just marry a nice young guy who has a stable job and settle and start a family. Anaona ile lifestyle atapata na mheshimiwa is better. Fadhali akuwe side chick, awekwe kwa apartment kileleshwa, and she'll be seen maybe once a month and so on. Many women settle for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Enoch Wizi 254. I'm currently reading Unplugged. It's been an eye-opening book. Thanks, Jacob. Kwa Timothy Onyango, mko juu majamaa. Asante sana tuning in from Waithaka, Nairobi. Mambo vipi? Timothy Wanyoike, the committee thing is true. Women operate in that sphere. Cycling Masai, good to see you. Cycling Masai, how is now? I hope you keeping well there. Walter Gonia Jr., you need to give us a forum to share our stories. You'll be shocked with our experiences. We have seen it all. Please share. The forum is here. This is why you say men only. We want to talk to men and talk about the issues that men deal with. If you need any help, if you need any advice as well, you can always reach out. We'll try and be proactive enough on the issues that you'll be sending as men so that we all get better. Wes get wanasema the pockets are yawning. Hapa tusio kidogo. Iko mzuri. I can get done. That app thing is so real, my brother. I don't have it on my phone, but she has it and I check on it regularly. Things to keep track of things. Uko na app. Uko na PA. Junior, no matter their views in life, once the body isn't, I don't know how to read that word anymore, they converge and yearn for family. Kusema shamaliza kiwanja, they converge and yearn for a family, get saved or look for F-boys. They die alone and miserable. That is women now, a street. Any man who is being tortured by a woman, walk away and stay completely away from drama. The truth will out soon, loud and during the day for everyone to see. Haya, nataka kujua story yako Gonia Junior. Ni kama kuna story uko nayo, tunataka utupe. Hiyo story ndio tunataka. Na umeambiwa kwamba kunguru wafugiki. The problem as well is judgment, and men make that, I can change this person or this person and get better. Wanyama wa street ni wa street. Ni kama kusema kufuga simba. Atabaki kuwa simba tu. Hata huwezi lala, kwa zingine unalala usiku unasema anaweza kumbuka ni simba alikula. So maambiwa na Magnus kunguru afugiki. Okay? Mfalme Sauli tuned in, say hi to Jacob and plug to the world. There's something even as we're speaking about alpha Magnus and Jacob. Is it possible to be an alpha without resources?
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. There's so many alphas out there. I think even in our youth, we do remember the men who used to have all the ladies. And if you compare yourself, you're wondering, jamaa kuna nini? Ana pesa kama, hata maybe mimi niko na kakitu kumliko, I'm better looking, but this guy bana just carries all the chicks I want bana he has already had bana. And me, I'm struggling. So yes, it's possible. I mean, that's a definite. Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, it's possible, right?
It's very possible. That's why I was telling you earlier. about the guys in the armed forces, the disciplined forces. Alpha is software. It is not about money. It is not about muscles. It is software. It's about confidence. It's about command presence. Of course, muscles help. Money also helps a lot because women also find those things attractive.
You can also have money and be a better.
Yeah, you can have money and be a better man. So it's very important. And then I just wanted to tell guys, the guys who are following, they can check on my wall because of what that guy said. I will be having a men's meetup on 15th. That is next Saturday in Castle Gardens in Garden Estate.
Off the road, huh?
Those things are very important because what normally happens, actually most of the times, is for networking and for sharing experiences. I remember there was a time one guy was narrating how one day he came home and he found his house was empty and he thought he had entered the wrong house. So he went and asked he checked first the house number, he found the door, this is actually his house. And then the watchman told him, I thought you guys mehama. So this guy was telling guys he only found curtains in the house. And then another guy chimed in and said, well, at least we aliwacha curtains. Mimi wangu alichukua hata curtains. Then you laugh about it and you realize, guys have gone through these things and they've survived and they've come out fine. So it's very, very important in terms of therapy for guys to find a safe space to share their experiences with other men and also to encourage each other. Because there are many guys, if you've not built a social network and you've gone through something, many people normally isolate themselves. They feel ashamed. I know the thing about men, because we operate in dominance and competence hierarchies, when something happens to you that makes you feel ashamed or humiliated or makes you feel lesser than, you keep it to yourself, you bottle it in. And now it starts eating you from the inside. That's why we encourage guys to come attend such forums, meet other men, network. I remember even there was a time, there was a guy who was he was being sued by his in-laws for theft. And some of the lawyers we had on board just offered to represent him pro bono. So you also meet guys and so on. And then you build a community of men where you can encourage and advise each other.
You also get
various
to
things.
know also what other men are dealing with.
Yes. It's very, very important.
So you're not alone.
And you get different perspectives, particularly professional perspectives. Because now when you have a forum where you have lawyers who are present, they can actually go into detail and tell you what the marriage certificate contains, what are the laws, the laws of the land surrounding marriage and relationships and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. A question for both of you that maybe it will be good to get a two-way vision opinion on it. And this is a question from a woman saying, what about women who always attract better men? The women who, however much you try, you just attract better men. Magnus.
It is just what she produces in terms of how her character and her energy I think the energy she gives, and it's even there's muscle memory. The same decisions she makes them over and over again. Why? Because she's comfortable with those decisions. So I would say she needs to explore a bit more. If she wants to meet alpha men, go where there are alpha men. If you feel like there are a lot of simps in the church. So if you feel like you don't want to meet simps and bitter men, then change your setting and go somewhere else where you'll find more people, a wider variety of men who are who most probably they will find more bitters in that space. Yeah, she just changes her place.
But what if you are not attracting the alphas? Because now the question is, it is a market. They are both. They are the alphas and they are the betas. They say you consistently, like you get this one a better, I'm gonna better.
Like again, she's probably she's using the same method over and over again. She's not changing anything. She's not changing her environment. She's not changing her character. She's not changing her thinking. She's not upgrading herself to be in a space where she can attract an alpha. So she really just has to look inside first and see what she's not doing correctly, or what she keeps doing that is attracting the males. The beaters, yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah, what I would say, I suspect she's maybe not using the correct expression. Because generally, there's nothing wrong with attracting a beta male. Because, like I said earlier, most men are beta males. So the thing about betas is that they're attractive. Okay? They're attractive. Most of the times, they are loyal. And the loyalty is demanded from beta males, by the way. Yeah? They are loyal. They are cooperative. They defer to the women. They don't like a lot of fights. They're not disagreeable. They don't have drama. That is what makes them attractive. However, they're not desirable. They don't make women wet. That's what the alphas do. So I suspect what this woman says when she means beta males, I think she means a loser. A guy who is weak, a guy who is broke, a guy who cannot make decisions. He's a weak man. So there are women who do this, and I've advised many women. Most of the times you trace it back to their fathers. You'll find either the father was very strict, very hard on her, very violent. So she finds men who are the opposite of that to be attractive because she finds them secure, she finds them safe to be with and to be around. But once she settles in the relationship, she realizes that this is just a reflection of the weakness, the core weakness that these men already have. So it bleeds into their finances, into their relationship, into their personal qualities. And I've seen several women who have ended up in those kinds of relationships where you have a man who is not ambitious. This guy cannot assert himself. He cannot stand up for her. He cannot stand up for himself and so on. So most of the times you trace it back to your father. If your father was opposite, you'll find then that you look for these men who are weak. But there are also women who are damaged. There are women who intentionally look for weak men because they want men that they can control. They feel insecure when they have a man who puts himself first. So there are women also who make such choices, then later on they regret. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So does it then mean that the children or the daughters of alphas will always end up with beta males?
No. That is not an alpha. That's a damaged man. Okay. I'm talking about a man who is either violent, is very quarrelsome in the home. Okay. The home is such a hostile place to be that, like, I know of a lady whose father was like that, and she ended up meeting someone, and they settled in a marriage. They got divorced after 2 kids. But now when she looks back is when she realizes why she found this guy attractive. Most alphas are a well-balanced alpha is just a guy who is responsible, who can take care of his family, and who enforces boundaries. So he's not someone who makes the children have a very bad experience. Alphas actually prioritize their seeds and parental investment and so on. So being a crazy guy is not being an alpha. Those are two very different things. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You still have something to add, Magnus?
I think I wanted to kind of wrap it up with one of the things I think that many men probably are not saying is, how do they navigate hypergamy? I think that question. That's what we need to answer before we close the show. Yeah. So can I just do my quick ones so that we can wrap it up? So I have 7 things. Andikeni, kama mko na kitabu, muandike. Our very good friends here at Podcast Planet will be able to cut this into little good pieces, reels. So here are 7 things that can help you navigate hypergamy as men. Number 1, burden of performance. You must continuously, consistently demonstrate value and capability. I'll give you an example. There's a gentleman, Oscar Sudi, who I look at and I always look at this guy and I'm like, huyu jamaa bana alikuwa nasemaga alikuwa na tu engineer tu wire. Look at him now bana. The guy is up there with number 1. Why? Because he consistently demonstrated value and capability. I don't know if you've met men like this. I'm giving you an example of just someone who you might think lowly of him when he's not in power, but look at him. Right now he's continuously giving that. Number 2, you must be committed to self-improvement forever. Every single day. That means on your health, on your wealth, on your physical ability, right? Reinvent yourself and improve yourselves. At all times, maintain that appeal and status. At all times. That's why you must put yourself first, right? Now, number 3, you must have an abundant mindset. Why? I keep on encouraging men to have an abundant mindset that these opportunities, these women are there. There are many. There are many opportunities in life and relationships. She's not the only one. If you feel like you can't get along anymore, you can't deal with it, walk away, go and look for something else, or be single. Just have an abundance mindset. Number 4, game and female nature. You must understand game as a man. Why there are very many men who might have a lot of money and are just it's not working with women, even when they have a lot of money. It's because they don't understand game. They don't understand female nature. And it involves around recognizing and adapting to female preferences and behaviors. So you understand this and learn it and make it work for you. I've given you an example of an app. It seems like a joke, but for me, I'm in the AI space, in the app space, in the text digital space. So I use apps a lot for my own productivity. So do that. Number 5, don't give her everything. Please, always have something for yourself. So at the end of the day, you're still putting yourself first. You maintain an element of mystery and ambition, and make sure the relationship stays dynamic. Whether it's a relationship with a girlfriend or a wife, whoever it is. Yeah. There's one guy called Dr. John Gottman, and he says his research indicates that maintaining individuality can strengthen long-term relationships. Always remember that as a man, right? Number 6, reject at all costs equal partnerships. You're not equal. As a man, you cannot be equal to a woman, and a woman is not equal to a man. End of story. I don't need to go beyond that. Number 7, embrace your masculinity. Embrace your traditional masculine traits such as leadership, decisiveness, and strength. Read books like Aliet's book. I don't even know you don't have Aliet's book here. Unplugged. There's Unplugged 1, 2, 3. There are books that will help you to be able to navigate and understand yourself from a masculine perspective. This is the software you need to install in your life to be a better man. To be not a better man, but a more decisive, more skillful, more leader, a man with good leadership. So, yes, embrace that.
Okay, that's a good one. So if you want the book, if you want to buy a book, if you want to buy Unplugged, you can find it at Nuria bookstore, or you can also order it online. You can speak to Aliet directly on his handles on Facebook. You can check him out on Facebook, but you can also get it from Nuria stores. Vile zinakaa, vitabu ziko hapa. This is Unplugged. This is the first one, right? This is Unplugged 1.
Yeah, the first one.
Unplugged 1. From comforting lies to cold earth truths, Jacob Aliet. Things our fathers did not tell us. You can order you from Nuria store. It's now the bestseller.
Yes.
For the last 3 years.
For the last 3 years. Unplugged 2 as well. We advise that you get all the 3 books so that you understand the thought process around it. And this is Unplugged 3, the latest. So please order them from Nuria store. Ukinunua unapiga picha. On Sunday, ututumie.
I think it's good just to say the price. As someone who's asked about the
price.
Yes. 1,500.
1,500. Bei peke yake ni 1,500. Bei ya jioni. And you get some serious value from this. So you get 1,500. Order it from Nuria store. I think they deliver countrywide.
Yes.
Yeah. Ama uombe vizuri mahali wanaweza pata.
Yeah.
You know better, huh? Jacob, tell them where they can get the book.
Yeah, so you can get the books from Nuria bookstore, but they're also available on Textbook Center. You can also come to my page on Facebook, Jacob Aliet. You can inbox me. We can arrange a delivery. I think Magnus has given a very excellent breakdown on how to manage a female hypergamy. Mm-hmm. And the first 2, which was burden of performance and being committed to self-improvement forever, it is part of what is called dread. Many women, when they feel they have exhausted the value they can extract from a relationship, they normally feel they want to wander and go elsewhere where they can optimize their hypergamy. When you are in a trajectory of growth forever, then she doesn't know where you will end up. Because that means today you could be earning 100,000 and next year it could be 200,000 and so on. She wants to stick around so that when that 200,000 starts checking in, she wants to be there. But if you're a man who is not doing any self-improvement, she knows this is the end. This is your pinnacle. You've hit a plateau and you're never going to get better. It becomes very easy for her to walk away and never look back. So that is very, very important. That's why we normally tell guys that the best revenge you can give to a woman who leaves you is by becoming better. So that when she looks back, she is vile alitupa mbao.
Okay. She should not say I was right.
Yeah. She don't say, but if she looks back and sees the same loser, you are just a bum who is wallowing there making excuses, then she'll face niliwambia, this guy is a bogus fellow. But you see now our friends will be telling her, hey, uliacha Kevo lakini siku hizi Kevo. Nilimwona juzi anaendesha Range Rover. Nini. They'll ask you what happened.
Anaanza kusema kuna ile message ya hi.
Anasema hi. So that is what happens. And there's something, the 2 points Magnus has mentioned, which are very important. Maintaining individuality can actually strengthen long-term relationships. You know, the unfortunate thing is most of what we are taught in Hollywood and in mainstream media, they tell you to be agreeable, that you need to talk. Even the church teaches you these things. You need to agree. And they tell you that agreeing normally is good for your relationship. But actually, the opposite is true. Relationships are not based on sameness. It's based on polarity. Polarity is what makes you and your wife become attracted to each other. Not sameness and not agreeableness. And then the last one is embracing masculinity. I'll refer guys to, there's a book called The Book of Puck. I don't know that this book is actually hardcover. I don't know. But that book, men should look for that book. It's called The Book of Puck. And if you look online at Rollo Thomas's website, there is also the 12 rules or 10 rules of Poon. No, it's called Poon. He calls it Poon.
Oh, Poon.
He calls it Poon.
Yeah.
But the Book of Puck is very good. It's about embracing masculinity. You know what happens in our society today? Remember that as we speak now, and it's good Levi went to Australia. We should talk to Levi about this. You know, in there's a school called Brower School in Australia where boys were told in an assembly one morning to just step forward and say that they are sorry. And what are they sorry about? They are sorry to all the girls in the school. And they're just being sorry for being a boy or for being a man. And remember that the American Psychological Association in 2019, they included traditional masculinity as a mental disorder in the DSM-4, which is a diagnostic and statistical manual for mental disorders. Traditional masculinity is now treated as a mental disorder. And you know, traditional masculinity is the one that tells men, you know, boys should not cry, a man should be strong, and so on. The word itself, toxic masculinity, the word toxicity was attached to masculinity to make masculinity become a very deplorable and a very disgusting and repulsive thing. And that's why even when you look at the trans community, most of the times when you talk about transgender, 90 or 80% of transgender men, it is men who are saying that they recognize themselves as female. So the Book of Poon just tells men to embrace their masculinity, not to be ashamed of being masculine, and to live as men. Okay, that is what that is about. So it's a way of trying to bring back masculinity, because the Western world has actually beaten back masculinity so much, and I think it's going to be a very decisive factor in the next elections in the US. If it's going to be Trump versus Biden, the issue of masculinity is going to be a major, because guys have seen how far the trans thing has gone and how much it can impact on society, and that is something that Trump is actually rejecting. So it's very, very important to embrace your masculinity, take up the burden of performance, and commit yourself to self-improvement forever. And just to remind guys have to remember that women are born with their eggs. And that's why you normally tell guys that women are born with value. Their eggs are depleted until they reach menopause. Men are not born with their sperms. You start producing sperms at puberty, but you produce them until you die. And that's the same thing guys have to also do with the burden of performance and commitment to personal growth or self-improvement. You do it until you die. There is no point where you'll say now, you know, retirement is there in terms of career, but you don't retire from being a man. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Timothy Wanyewike, X and Aliet. I think you are on X, Jacob Aliet.
Yeah, Jacob Aliet. And in TikTok, it's Unplugged VIP. On TikTok, it's Unplugged VIP.
Magnus?
Mine is Facebook, Magnus MG. So you'll find me on Magnus MG on Facebook. That's where I'll primarily be. I'm also starting to put up stuff on TikTok, so you'll still find it the same handle, Magnus MG.
Okay, thank you. Nyundo Bai, hello Aliet from the Unplugged. You described Alpha as a guy who has offspring abandonment and does not respect laws. Why seem to contradict the same?
Yeah, so
Umekujiwa.
alphas tend to have that characteristics of offspring abandonment, but it's not all alphas. Just in the same way, even when you go to jail now, most criminals actually are alphas. By that I mean all alphas are criminals. So that is what happens. And if you find, if you look at ladies today, they what we call retroactive cuckoldry. Many women get pregnant when they're in campus or in high school. And normally they are impregnated by alphas. Then later on, now when they're in their 30s, they look for a better man to raise these kids. Yeah, so alphas being bad boys, they engage in that offspring abandonment because of that. And even the men who are raising children who are not theirs, the married men who don't know, those are children of alphas most of the times. Yeah, so it is a future of offspring of alphas. By that I mean all alphas abandon their offsprings.
Okay, all right. It's the risks. Okay. The warrior within. Big up Masculinity Sunday. Any links to your Telegram X accounts, if any, will help spread the agenda to my team. You can find us as well on X. Look for New Day TV. They call it good New Day TV. On TikTok, New Day TV, and then also there is Men Only on TikTok. Please subscribe to TikTok. We'll also share next week. We'll share a WhatsApp channel for Men Only and also a Telegram. So please, Steve Changamka, Telegram and WhatsApp channel so that we can keep these conversations going. Reach to Vino ndio kuingia kazi safi. Asante Lisha M-Trix. My takeaway today is apps, but on a serious note. Though, but on a serious note, though Magnus, big up an excellent breakdown. There you have given us men. Asante. Again, you see me unplugging, but I have got this person. I'm trying to unplug him. Very nice. Asante sana. Thank you for tuning in and ensuring that we keep these conversations going. Moses Gekitao wanasema alpha is a mindset. Asante. Mfalme Sauli tuned in to say hi to Jacobs Unplugged to the world. Moses Kitao, she needs to give us more context. What metrics is she using to determine beta? Okay. Kipchumba Kaidan, Magnus is wrong on imagining that alphas are not in charge. My brother, these are den of lions eating choir members badly. All right. I missed the title and the author of the book Jacob mentioned. Kitabu mambiwa sewe ndo asome. Jacob, wewe ndio ulikuwa umesema hiyo kitabu.
The book of Puck, eh? I don't know the title, but you can Google. Book of Puck. Puck is P-O-O-K. Yeah, maybe I can Google and I can give you the name of the title, the author in a short while.
Okay.
Actually, it's you'll even find it actually on the internet. It's actually in the interwebs. It's free. Just Google it. Book of Puck. There's 15 lessons for young men. There's volume 1, 2, 3. It's really wide. So just look for it. Utaipata huko.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haya. Asante sana. Unless there is any questions, members, let's go na swali ambao kuna the viewers who are watching us tonight. This has been Men Only, the 9th of June, 2024. And comes to every single Sunday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And we discuss anything and everything that touches on men, from money, relationships, and mental health. Actually, it's this month is mental month, right? Is that?
Yes.
June? Yeah.
Mental health, wealth.
You don't get to hear about it.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about it. But I think also it's time we took seriously the mental health of men. Because men are dealing with a lot of crazy things. Nobody talks to them. Nobody checks on them. Nobody wonders how they do. Tuko tu tunasonga nayo. What message do you have for men?
The thing about masculinity is it's a very complex thing, because also men, the more you check on a man and take care of him, the weaker sometimes he becomes. We've seen this I think the analogy that we normally use is the one of hatchlings or birds that are trying to get out of their eggs. If you see the bird struggling to get out of the egg, and then you feel pity or you feel sorry for the bird, and then you'd say, let me just crack this egg so that it can get out easily. Most of those birds they do very poorly, those kinds of birds. So what we've come to see, and I think universally it's acknowledged by men, that men normally recover from trauma by doing things, not necessarily by talking about the things or their experiences. So that's why men engage in a lot of activities. And if you have to talk to other men. Don't go and talk to your romantic partners or your wife and so on, because the experience of a man is completely different. The life experience of a man is completely different from that of a woman. I have colleagues, for example, who I've seen female colleagues who the boss stresses them, work is too difficult, there's too much workload, and she starts now maybe even having nightmares at home. She's dreaming she's in the office. She resigns, she goes home. Women have the option of doing that because a woman who is at home is called a housewife. A housewife is still a career. But what about a man? Can you resign and go home to become a house husband? You'll be kicked out. So people need to acknowledge that the experience of a man is very different from that of a woman. And you saw the example of the guy who was buried in a mine in Siaya and the lady who sank at the ferry in Kilindini. How the government responded is completely different. Yeah. So even the life value or the value of a man's life is calibrated very different. That's why we say we are the disposable sex. But women are the protected or the vulnerable gender. So guys need to remember that as we approach the mental health month for men. We'll be sharing more. I think I'll be in textbook center at some point to promote Unplugged and to have a message for men. Yeah.
All right. Closing remarks, Magnus?
Since it's
and a message for men during the
mental health month for men, I'll tell men, especially if you're going through something, and you definitely go through something. A ship was made to sail the rough seas. A ship that does not sail the rough seas is not a ship. Yeah. So you are meant to sail those rough seas. If you're going through a couple of them or a few of them together or in sequence, just know that sometimes it actually gets bad before it actually also gets worse. And you have to prepare yourself and your mental fortitude to embrace what's coming. There's no value in deleting yourself, in my opinion. You should stay strong. You should be able to work it out. Like I said, have a community. Speak to men. Men, don't speak to women. Don't even speak to your girlfriends. It's not worth the time. If she's not your relative, probably don't speak to her. That's what I would tell you. The only women probably you can be able to clearly tell is someone who is a relative. But if she's not your relative, you have no business talking to her and telling her about your issues. Either see a professional, also mingle with other men, see what other men are going through, understand, listen. Get a community of men that is worth spending time with. We have a community of men as ours that Jacob has put together, and he's having something this coming weekend called Unplugged. And we have that place to be able to speak about the issues that we go through. There you can come in with your problem and you find that the other men with 10 problems.
But yako ni sosa.
Yako ni sosa bana. Kuna mwingine anakula sinia mzima bana. Someone who's going through it. Who's going through tough times. So I'm not putting down your problems. I'm just telling you that it's good to embrace other men in a community of men who will also give you their support by listening, number one. Number two, giving you their perspective. And also being able to, where they can, of course, guiding you where they can help you in other ways. But again, you are the captain of your ship. You should be able to learn how to sail that ship through the rough storms. That is why you're a man. We're not saying that you should just bury your head in the sand and keep going. If there's a problem, look for help. It could be professional. Again, I don't run specifically to seek for professional help unless it's a health issue now proper, where it's become an issue. But if it's just problem or it's problems that you're going through and they're tough on you, marriage, divorce, financial, family, whatever it is, look for men you can speak to and navigate that together. You'll find it's much easier when you share a problem. A problem shared is half solved. And the right men. Don't look for your drinking buddies who will buy you a drink and tell you, where to Liabana? Look for men like Jacob, for Gerald, myself.
Okay, at the peak.
Yes, who will be able to help you to navigate, give you a word or two, be able to link you up to other men, a community of men to understand what other men are going through, how they're navigating what they're going through, and to become better. That is part of a burden, and that is part of also committing yourself to self-improvement. If you can do that, you're on the right path, but don't delete yourself.
All right. Don't delete yourself. Put end and people will move on, man. Problems never end. They'll always be there. So for me, I think my winding thoughts would be, I'm a great believer that great men are products of adversity. If you are not dealing with something difficult as a man, then you're not being a man. Because you're not overcoming anything, you're not pushing your limits, you're not doing anything. So great men are products of adversity. If you are in a thick spot right now, bora si ugonjwa. Kitu yenye tunasema ti ugonjwa ndio shida. If you're actually sick, that is what we can say, you get professional help or you go to hospital. But if you're dealing with financial issues, if you're dealing with work issues, if you're dealing with anything, then as a man, you need to thank God that you have those things to deal with. Because as a man, all great men are products of adversity. If you're not trying to overcome anything, then you're not living. So anyone who's doing something tonight, let's stop this nonsense of being babied. Told baba, tulia, ataisha, itapita now. Take responsibility. And men are products of responsibility. Take responsibility for your choices in life. Take responsibility for the things that are happening around you. And at least get to do something that challenges you every single day. Men were created to fix things. And that is why when you're growing up, you see boys, even the natural orientation of boys. Wakianza kutembea, they try to look at things. Wanavuruta TV, wanafanya nini, they get curious with how things work and how things operate. Learn to be the spanners. If you're raising a boy, keep your boy around activities. Mahali spanner iko, mahali jembe iko. These boys that we are, the sons of the millennials are the craziest. Anasema waendi kwa shamba, chunga ka baba ataumia kwa shamba, chunga ka baba akae kwa nyumba asitoka asiende mahali. So we are raising weak men every single day. At every turn they just want therapy. Every turn want therapy. Every turn you need to raise hard men. So if you are dealing with something big as a man, if you're dealing with a challenge tonight, know that is being a man. And when you win and when you overcome that challenge, then you become a great man who can take responsibility and can make things happen in their lives. And stop hiding in things that make time pass. Either alcohol, clubbing, and of course, most men right now, they escape reality. You're going to be away from your reality. You wake up tomorrow, again, you're back even worse from where you were. So face the things that you're dealing with, and I can guarantee you that you will overcome and you'll succeed. Until next week on Sunday, I want to wish you a very great week. Monday is here. Get up charged and make the better of the week. Until next week, bye-bye and take care. See you.